Mr Moodle the Labradoodle was no ordinary dog. When his owners were away, he began to play, and little did they know that he could say, "My name is Mr Moodle, how doodle you do? Now I'm alone, I shall have a scone," for Mr Moodle didn't care for a bone. A scone with jam, now that's the way, and so Mr Toodle would go out for the day. With his hat and his stick he left very quick, and went out to see his friend. His friend was clever and lived outside, on Floodle Park, quite close to the slide. His friend was a slug, not a bug or a pug, but a slug from Floodle, a clever and slimy slug called Miss Toodle. Miss Toodle had been working day and night to invent for Mr Moodle something he could use for flight. "Faster than light and quieter than a pear," Mr Moodle had said. "Oh, and lighter than air." Miss Toodle had done it. Made with hair and strings, it was parked by the swings, with a nose and a tail and really short wings. But Mr Moodle didn't care. He just wanted to be up in the air. "I shall call it the Flying Poodle," cried Moodle, "created by Toodle for the use of Moodle, first flight from Floodle." "And for in-flight meal you're having noodle," laughed Miss Toodle. The launch pad would be off from the slide, and until engines running, Mr Moodle would glide up over the trees and away to the west, avoiding the tower, that would be best. With Miss Toodle on side, Mr Moodle took off from the slide, and as they planned he began to glide. The engines fired up and whirled like a beast, and instead of west they went to the east. Missing the trees, the higher they flew, the Flying Poodle was up, but something's wrong, Mr Moodle knew. After all, the Flying Poodle was made from hair and didn't quite sound like a pear. With a cough and a splutter and an almighty bump, down they came into Droodle Dump. Droodle Dump was a place not to go. It was dark and dreary and really quite scary. With no way out, they knew they were lost. Mr Toodle was scared and Miss Toodle was cross. And as quick as they had fell high from the sky, they saw in the darkness a bright green eye. Miss Toodle hid under Mr Moodle's hat, and under the Flying Poodle Mr Moodle sat. "Quietly now," Mr Moodle said, as out squeaked a voice saying, "Hello, I'm Fred. Half dog, half owl, and with just one eye. They call me a dowel, and oh, I can fly." From under his hat, Miss Toodle did sigh. "I think it's safe. Oh, why? He can fly." "Now the name's Mr Moodle, and this here's Toodle," lifting his hat. "Do you know how to get out of Droodle?" "Out of Droodle? Well, that I can do," Fred knew. "Well then," said Mr Moodle, "how doodle you do?" "We've had a problem with our in-flight noodle. It appears to have broken our Flying Poodle. Any chance you could get us back to Floodle?" said Miss Toodle. You see, Fred lived in the dump because he liked the dark, and no one had ever heard a dowel bark, but he gave it a think to get them out of this stink and return them both safely to Floodle Park. "I'll fly up high with the poodle in tow, and you can glide down, you'll know where to go," said Fred. "Back by 4 and into my bed," Mr Moodle thought as he nodded his head. "Well, we better go quick," said Mr Moodle, grabbing his stick, and up they went in the air. Over the trees and up like a lark, Miss Toodle on board, they could see Floodle Park. "Easy now," yelled Fred as he was ready to let them glide, and down they went as Fred left, filled with such pride. Down with a thud they landed in Floodle. "What a relief!" gasped Mr Moodle. "What a day, I must say," Miss Toodle cried. "Goodbye, Fred. Thanks for the ride," they said. "Same time tomorrow," laughed Mr Moodle to Miss Toodle as he thought of the things they had seen. "Now give some more thought to that submarine," he yelled, and off he ran. "Good night, Mr Moodle," whispered Miss Toodle as she tucked herself away at the side of the slide. Mr Moodle ran through the door, left his hat by the fire and his stick on the floor. He looked at the clock. It was 5 minutes to 4. He said, "Just in time. It's good to be home," as his owner arrived with a great big bone. Toodaloo. Enjoyed this story? Then look out for Square Eyes, coming soon.